My name is Gerald, Gayton, your mortgage doctor, and I'll show you how to take the pain out of getting a mortgage. I'll put my years of experience to work for you to make this process as smooth and easy as possible. Today's question is really two parts. Asking about first-time home buyer programs. What are the first-time home buyer programs and what does that mean? And is that the same thing as 100% financing? It's a great question. Something that I hear a lot of. So we're going to talk about that in two different sections. The first piece is first-time home buyer programs. Now there are a host of those, and I want you to really think of first-time home buyer programs in two ways, with regard to loans and with regard to down payment assistance, because that's really what it boils down to. Now, to be a first-time home buyer, all that means is you have not had ownership interest in a property for the last 3 years. Even if you bought a house before, if you haven't had home ownership interest in the last 3 years, you're considered a first-time home buyer. So you get all the same perks once again. And I think that's remarkable, but it's also so important because home ownership is a vital part of our national economy, for you personally and building wealth for you and your family. So there's all sorts of options that are available to you. Now let's talk about the loan side. First-time home buyer programs. Typically that means lower down payment, some benefit when it comes to mortgage insurance. So perhaps mortgage insurance might be 30%, but if you're a first-time home buyer, it might be reduced to some factor, which makes the home more affordable. So that's a benefit on the loan side. And there are different nuances that you may be able to take advantage of if you're a first-time home buyer. And when I say first-time home buyer, in your mind, you're thinking, haven't had home ownership interest in the last 3 years. Perfect. Now with the loan side, when it comes to the down payment assistance, the great thing is they use that same criteria. Haven't had home ownership in the last 3 years, and there are different programs that are available to you based on where you live, based on what kind of property you're buying, where you can get not only sometimes grants, which are money that you don't have to pay back if you're going to be living in that property for a specified amount of time. Things like in our area, I'm in North Carolina, in Raleigh, we have programs that are driven by city, some that are driven by the state, some that are driven by certain geographical locations. So it's possible for someone, if they hit the sweet spot with, let's say, those 3 different tiers, they might get $50,000 or $60,000 of money for a purchase that they don't have to pay back. That is powerful. With regard to first-time home buyer, not having ownership in 3 years, a lot of times when you're looking at down payment assistance programs, they're going to have some measure of restriction, whether that's income, whether that's geographically located. There's going to be some kind of restriction there. So you want to be aware, first-time home buyer programs with loans, really not going to be any more restrictive than what we've talked about. Down payment assistance that goes in conjunction with that, there are going to be some restrictions. So that's the piece on the first-time home buyer from a loan and down payment assistance. The other side of that is 100% financing. 100% financing, all that means is your loan, any down payment for your loan, you're buying a house for $100,000. No down payment means you're going to get a check for $100,000 for that entire balance of the loan. That doesn't mean that you will not have to pay some money out of pocket. I have another video up here that you can look at that goes into the details of what your out-of-pocket costs are going to be. That's something you want to pay attention to. So just because you get 100% financing, it's not like buying a car. Car is $10,000, you get 100% financing for that car, you're not writing a check. It's not that way in the mortgage business. That loan is only one area. You're also going to have closing costs. Of those closing costs, you're going to have some that are out-of-pocket costs. Things like an earnest money deposit, things like an appraisal, inspections. So those are things that are going to be out-of-pocket regardless of whether or not you have 100% financing. That's something that's very important to note. Take a look at that other video. We get into the details of not only the loan closing costs, and seller credits and lender credits. That's how you're going to determine what your out-of-pocket costs are when it comes to what you're going to have to write a check at the closing table. Hope this helps you. Difference between first-time homebuyer programs on the loan, down payment assistance, and 100% financing does not necessarily mean zero out of pocket. I'm Gerald Gayton, your mortgage doctor. I'll show you how to take the pain out of getting a mortgage. Till next time.